Hi, everyone. I'm joined by Stephanie Harris today. She comes from us from Family Forever Animal Foundation, and she's going to be talking a little bit about her background, her mission, what she's doing today. Stephanie, you want to do a quick hello?
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
Fantastic. So we're going to kick it off, and maybe if you could do a little introduction about yourself and your organization, and tell us a little bit about your mission and kind of what inspired you to start your nonprofit.
Absolutely. So, the history of our organization actually started a group of us who had what we like to call graduated from another rescue locally. We had all kind of collectively decided that we wanted to take a shift within the rescue community. And we actually ended up feeding a little feral colony of community cats in an apartment complex near me. And there were four of us who had volunteered to do that, who had previously been in the previous rescue. And we started talking about how we thought we could really make an impact. And so we really started with a very comprehensive mission, which was really to do adoptions, to rehome and take in animals and find them wonderful forever homes. We were going to be involved in trap, neuter, release. We were going to do community education and to help people keep their pets and prevent them from surrendering. Lastly, we really wanted to do some fundraising that would help people keep the pets that they already had and be able to pay for veterinary care and pet deposits. After a few years of doing all of that, it became impossible. We were all exhausted. Everybody who works in rescue knows that it can be overwhelming. And so we really decided to focus on what was the gap in the community. We are very lucky in this area in Orlando and Central Florida to have amazing rescues that do take in animals and rehome them. We have great educators. We have organizations dedicated to trap, neuter, release. And so we really shifted our mission to work on helping keep families together. We all know that our animals are members of our family. And it absolutely broke all of our hearts to see people surrender their animals because they couldn't afford veterinary care. They couldn't afford a pet deposit. They couldn't afford behavioral intervention. So what we've really focused on is keeping animals happy, healthy, and at home with the families that love them. So primarily what we do is fundraising. And so we don't have any massive overhead of having a shelter and actively feeding animals. I mean, I personally foster myself, but I foster with a different organization because Family Forever is really focused on its unique scope. And so what we've done is we've partnered with veterinary practices around the area, and we give referrals of our clients to them. They give us a little bit of a discount. And as a result of that, we average helping about 60 families a year, and that's just through crowdsourcing of funds. We're absolutely blown away by the generosity of the community and people who are supportive of our mission. We all know how lucky we are to be able to afford to keep our pets happy and healthy. And if someone comes into a situation where they're elderly and on a fixed income, where they have other family emergencies, and the animal obviously may not be able to take precedence over other demands on their budget, we're able to step in and help where we can.
And every little bit helps, especially
100%. 100%. People are like, I could only give $5. And I don't mean to laugh, but if you could understand how far $5 can go, it makes a tremendous difference, especially if we're looking at doing a trap, neuter, release at a low-cost clinic. That's a third of the cost for us. As people are able to give $5, $10, $15, it makes a tremendous difference for us. And we are incredibly frugal and responsible with our money. This is not a martyrdom statement, but I personally take on overhead costs because I want every dollar that's donated to the rescue to go directly to the animals. So if we have to pay for our PO box or stamps or, any kind of things that you need to run a nonprofit, that's something that I'm happy to donate so that anybody who gives $5 knows that it's going to the veterinary care of an animal in need.
And I think that's really important when you look at the larger scale organizations versus the local ones, right? And that's really where Sponsor a Pet focuses, is on those local organizations. That true impact really happens. It's just refreshing to see that being done like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And being able to partner with organizations like Sponsor a Pet, we use social media for our advertising, but we're kind of limited to the people who know about us and have liked our page and are my personal friends and the personal friends of the other people on the board. And so being able to partner with another organization that has that sort of communication infrastructure set up that can widen our reach, that can help tell our stories, because our stories are amazing. The people who ask for our help generally have sacrificed so much already, and these animals are their heart and soul. And so being able to share that story more broadly and to bring, potentially bring more resources in for us to be able to help them through this sort of partnership is an amazing opportunity.
And that's really the heart of what we look to do, is be able to shine that light on organizations such as yours, to be able to help increase your audience and to have people be able to find you and understand what you do and be able to tell your story, as we're doing now, where otherwise people might not know that it exists, right? It's like a tree falling in the forest. Nobody's around to hear it, right? We take great pride and pleasure in being able to do this and to be able to connect with organizations such as yours.
Fantastic. It was absolutely kismet that we found each other at the conference. I was so thrilled to learn about your organization, and I'm really eager to launch our campaign.
And things happen for a reason, right? It's also like the 6 degrees of separation and just how
Truly.
things line up. And the Kevin Bacon example, right? Could you share like a success story or something that really highlights the impact of the work?
Yeah, of course. So I learned through a friend that I had made in the rescue community that there was a couple who lived kind of in an area of town where animals were looked on as disposable. Because they were so caring, people would dump animals on their property. And so they had something like 30 to 40 outdoor cats plus personal pets, and very little in terms of resources. So a few of us went out, we started trapping, and then for their personal animals, we started providing veterinary care. For example, one of their cats had an eye that needed to be removed. Another one had a leg injury. So we were able to step in and get them veterinary care. One of their dogs was very ill, and we were able to help with euthanasia, which is an often overlooked part of what constitutes rescue. But ensuring that an animal is happy and healthy also ensures that they have an easy departure. And so being able to end suffering is another way that we can help. We had been in touch with them and helping them piecemeal get everybody fixed, and actually setting them up with the tools that they needed to get them fixed on their own, and had been doing that for several years. Well, through a twist of fate, they came into money and also came into a new job. And after years and years of helping them, now when we have fundraisers, they're able to donate and pay it forward and help other people. And so for us, it's the beautiful full circle type of thing where they were so deeply in need and we were so happy to be able to help them. And now that they have the means, they are absolutely spreading the love and helping other people as much as they can. I was just actually out there earlier this week. They had a Chihuahua named Poppy who was having terrible mouth problems, and we got her a dental. She's a different dog now. She is so happy and healthy and thriving. And so being able to see this little girl, doing so beautifully, for me, it makes all the other things worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really powerful. So conversely, what would be one of your bigger challenges that you're facing?
Well, right now, fundraising is very slow. So that's one thing. Another problem, and this is a very human problem, and we in rescue face this, is that an animal is not responsible for the people that it ends up with. And so we're in this because we love animals, and people can be problematic. And so, the focus needs to be on helping the animal regardless of personal feelings towards the caretaker or owner. So for me, for someone to be able to qualify to receive our help, they need to show proof of income or apply for care credit and be denied. There has to be a financial need demonstrated. But sometimes people are just not responsible, and they make choices for their animals and otherwise that are not in the animal's best interest. And it's really important to move through this with reserved judgment. It's not my place to judge the person. It's my place to help the animal. And so that has been one of the most important and one of the hardest lessons for me. It's not up to me to berate someone for breeding their pit bull. It is up to me to then recommend that we get every animal in their house fixed. Some of the struggle comes through that. Again, I mentioned fundraising is very slow. There's a lot of competition for limited funds. There are a lot of people doing really good work. And so really kind of finding our niche to be able to apply for grants and things like that has been a little bit more of a challenge because our organization is so unique. But I think those are the main challenges.
I would agree. The biggest thing is just having the time to be able to fundraise.
Absolutely.
Right?
This is not my full-time job. I have what I like to call my grown-up job, my real job, which I have to work to be able to keep my cats in the lifestyle that they have become accustomed to. So all of this takes place after hours on the weekends, and if you let it can become all-consuming. And I've been there. I've been on the other side of that. So yeah, it is a time commitment, but it is absolutely a labor of love.
And that's part of like what we try to aim to do, is to be able to help with the fundraising effort, so you guys can focus on what you do best, right? Which is helping the animals and being within the trenches within there and taking.
Exactly. And that's why partnerships like this are so important, because it lifts a tiny bit of the burden off of us. And by the way, this is Tato, who has joined us.
Oh.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Yeah, he was born blind and deaf and came into our rescue, and he's so special needs, and he's not the easiest cat. So he ended up staying here with me, and now we're pretty inseparable. So
he's so cute.
Thank you. Yes, he's very affectionate and very demanding of time.
Of course. So I would say that's almost every cat, but
yeah. But yeah, so he has no concept of time, space, privacy, or anything else. So, which again is every cat. He is happy to have joined us right now.
Oh yeah. That looks familiar.
It's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Yes, bat away my cat from jumping up here.
Right.
I think we talked about some of your key programs and initiatives.
Mm-hmm.
Are there other ones that you want to touch on that we didn't?
I think the key to what is sort of in the industry referred to as shelter diversion, preventing animals from going into crowded shelters and overburdened rescues, and to try to keep the animal at home. It's really a problem-solving, listening, social work lens that you go through. And oftentimes the gap may not be money, it may be education. And so we're very lucky that I and the people on our board have been doing this for 20 years. And as a result of that, you pick up tips throughout the years. And so one of the typical reasons that someone wants to surrender an animal, especially a cat, is because it's urinating outside of the litter box. That's a common issue. And so the first step in anything like that is to get the cat to the vet to test for a UTI. And that, that can be really cost prohibitive for people, because in Central Florida, the average cost of walking into a vet visit is between $60 and $75 just to walk in the door and have an appointment. And then you have to do a urinalysis. They'll want to run blood work. They need to make sure that the animal is up to date on vaccines to be able to treat them. so on and so forth. And so that's a pretty penny for people. So not only do we help with that, but we also help with the behavioral and the educational aspects on the people-facing side to ensure, number one, there are enough litter boxes to make sure the cats like the litter, and to really then focus on, if it is behavioral, what might be the source of the anxiety and how can we mitigate that. And so as important and essential as fundraising is, listening to the stories and giving people tools to solve the problem is really part of what we do as well.
Absolutely. Education and awareness go a long ways, and in addition to what we're doing.
Exactly. And so I think as we look at sort of this broader problem of the cost of veterinary care going up, people's resources being limited, that's kind of a space that I think is really important to step into.
Even by me, we have some feral cats running around here and stuff, and I'm trying to gain their trust by giving them some food and
Yep.
help them, especially because it gets so hot here.
Sure.
That I think I have, and now I need to find a vet that will help me out and to be able to do that. Right, because I'm new to the area too. I've only been here almost a year at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
still a learning process there too. I mean, it's not easy to pick a vet and go that route.
Yeah.
I totally understand. I think we got about 4 or 5 cats now.
Yeah.
Running around.
Yeah. That's how it happens.
Somebody dropped off the cats. I think either they got dropped off or somebody moved, and now they're procreating.
Yes. You're the recipient of the cat distribution system.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. They are cute though.
They are.
Cute. So tell us, how can our viewers and our audience support you, get involved? What would you like to tell them?
Well, I think from my perspective, anybody who steps up and takes responsibility to help to the extent that they can. We understand that not everybody's in a position to donate. Not everybody's in a position to foster, but people can volunteer to help with transport, to help with social media, to help with, office tasks, and to contact their local shelter and see, can they get involved with local trap, neuter, release? It's not a huge time commitment. It's not a huge financial commitment. There are tons of grants out there where local organizations are able to offer free and low cost spay and neuter. So my take home message is, obviously, if you can donate, because the money goes so far. We stretch our pennies, and I know a lot of organizations do. So first and foremost, if you find an organization whose mission speaks to you and you have the means to donate, by all means do that. But in addition, there are tons of ways to be involved to make animals' lives better. And if it's not supporting a small organization like ours, it's going to the local shelter and volunteering to walk the dogs. It's, going in and playing with the cats. I have a friend who's in an apartment that doesn't allow pets, but he volunteers on the weekend at a local cat shelter and just helps socialize the kittens. So there are lots of little things that you can do that make a huge difference. If I had someone to check my emails and triage that for me, that would be amazing. People can find the little things that they can do that can make an enormous difference.
Absolutely. And they all add up too, right? I mean,
100%. Like if I had some fosters and was going out of town, and I was really working on getting them to trust and getting them more comfortable. And I had a volunteer come over and just sit and play with them while I was out of town. And it made all the difference. And she spent 45 minutes with them. But for them, it was exposure to another person, to a kind person who brought them treats and petted them and played with them. That small commitment of time made these animals more adoptable. And so there are lots of ways that people can get involved that aren't huge time and financial commitments, but they make a tremendous difference to small groups like us and to the local municipal and city shelters.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with that.
Yeah.
The socialization is a big part. That's kind of like what I'm doing right now too.
Yeah.
What would you say are your goals, kind of the vision for, the future for your organization?
Sure. So there are a few things that we're working on, one of which is a brand relaunch. So I have the original 4 of us who founded the organization. Some have moved out of state, some have had children, some, there are different demands on time. So we recently recruited new board members with new ideas and new talents and new skills. So as a result of our initial meetings, we've decided to do a brand relaunch for our organization. And that includes a new website, a new logo, some different social media presence. We have someone who's really big into Instagram and TikTok and Reels and stuff like that. And I'm 100 years old, so I'm just not as savvy. And so I'm really thrilled to have someone who's not 100 years old step into that space. And so we're looking at a relaunch. We're looking at what we affectionately call OPM, other people's money. So going for grants and things like that can help support our work. And then we're really looking to streamline some of our processes so that people who get referred to us sort of get a little orientation about our organization and how things work before requesting help, so that there's a little bit of triage on the front end. And then obviously, we would love to be able to increase the numbers of people we're able to touch and to help, and to continue to expand our reach to further partnerships with vet practices, to further our relationship with Sponsor a Pet, so that we can sort of grow our profile. We're a very small local organization. We have a very limited budget. And so having to say no to people is really difficult. And having the means to be able to say yes to more people is what would allow me to sleep better at night.
It's always the cart before the horse.
Yeah,
right?
truly.
Yeah, it's how do you grow with funds that you have, but and all that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, as an organization, we've had the same issues before too, right? Like, we're self-funded, and
Yeah.
and it's about finding people that could come in and see the vision and where you're going and how you're going to get there, and be able to make it happen.
And my experience in nonprofit management is hands-on. I haven't any coursework. It's not my professional background. It's really been trial by fire. And so being able to work with organizations that do understand best practices, that have a marketing and communications component, which is not my natural background, is just such an asset for a small organization like ours.
Absolutely. Part of the biggest challenge, I'd say, with most nonprofits that you face is just they don't have that background typically, right? They have the passion and the love for the animals, and they know what they want to do, but it's almost, you got to treat it as a business as well, right? Because you got to be able to manage your money that comes in. You got to be able to stretch it. You got to be able to be organized, and you need your processes in place. There's a whole gambit of things that go into
it. Budgeting for the next year, having strategic goals, all of these things are things that people have said, hey, can you send me your budget for next year? And I would be like, I make it up year to year. You can't do that on a continuous basis. So that really, you don't know what you don't know. And so when someone asks for that, I say, let me get right back to you, and then look up how on earth do you do a strategic plan and budget when you don't know the money that's going to be coming in. So it's really learning on the job.
It is. It's a trial by fire.
100%.
But I mean, that's how you learn and grow, is just going through those struggles, for sure. Can I ask you what you like about Sponsor a Pet?
Yeah, I really like the personalization aspect of it. What I like to call it's a choose your own adventure kind of program. And so the communication piece, the marketing piece really kind of follows our lead, kind of leans in with advice and a really nice setup for communicating needs. But it reflects our organization really nicely. We're able to use this platform to tell our stories in our way, but it also really increases our reach and helps us to tell that story in an effective way beyond what our limited capabilities are. To have an organization whose mission it is to help groups like us get the word out was such a wonderful find, and it was kismet. And we're absolutely thrilled to be able to really get started and to leverage all of the tools you have. We really hope it makes a difference for these people that we're helping, because because when you look at the enormity of the problem of animal welfare and homing and rehoming and shelter work, it's overwhelming. And one of the things that people always say is you can't save them all. But the fact of the matter is, I can save this one and I can save this other one, and those add up. And that is what the mission is. And so having a partner to be able to help us do that, to make an impact for this family and this pet who will never forget what we've done and who will pay it forward when they can. I mean, I think that's the beauty of working together. So, I'm really eager to launch our campaign and to see where we go together.
Couldn't have said it better. Thank you. And I would say we do, I don't know if Jeannie's touched on, we do have other things that we can do for you guys. They do cost money since it does go further, but we do build websites, we do build logos, we do social media management, we do grant writing, grant proposals.
Fantastic.
We have relationships with vets in the Florida region. So there are things that we can do, and we are conscientious of budgets and things of that nature. So you could do like a bucket of hours or focus in on different things. I myself come from enterprise level software for processes. So for process modeling, process governance, mining, automation, I've been doing that for like a decade.
No, these are invaluable resources, especially when you have so many of these organizations are side work for people. Doing stuff like that is really helpful and important.
It is, right? And being able to understand it. And it's like, where do you focus first? Do you do Facebook ads? Do you build your page more? Do you do the website first? Like, there's a lot of things that go into it.
There are, and we're very lucky because we have a website designer on our board. That's what she does professionally, and she's relaunching our website. So it was when we went to select and approach new board members, we did so with people who have been involved peripherally with the rescue community for a long time. They foster, they do screenings for adoptions, they do things like that, but they also have a really complex and unique and complementary skill set. So we have a website designer, we have 2 professional fundraisers, one in the nonprofit world, one in the academic world. We have someone who was formerly a president of a statewide breed-specific rescue. We have someone who's on the board of another animal rescue. So lots of people with lots of connections and skills. And so while we definitely looked for people who had the passion and knowledge about animals, we were also looking for a really diverse and helpful skill set, and really looked into the people that have agreed to help. I think the combination of leveraging their skills and talents, leveraging our partnership with you, and relaunching our brand in the new year will hopefully mean some really big and exciting things for us.
It's so important to have a strong board and get people, because it's, like I said, it's the cart before the horse. Like, hey, these are things that you need to do, but okay, how do we get the funds to be able to do that?
So when I went recruiting, I was like, I will handle day to day. I will do all of the dirty work. I need you to help me fundraise. That is their sole purpose. And so in doing that, they were like, to appropriately fundraise, we need to relaunch the brand. And so that's kind of our step one. So as we're looking at cart before the horse, we understand that we need to redo our website and redo our look and keep the same message, but repackage. And we're hoping that will help establish our brand a little better. Our reputation in the community is very good. There's always room for improvement. So this is a great opportunity to do that.
100%. 100%. You have a front end designer. Do you have a back end developer working for you?
We do.
Nice. Yeah, we're always here to help if you want to look at other things that that I mentioned before.
Well, I didn't realize that you had all of those capabilities. So it's certainly something that I'll bring to the board and look into.
Yeah, happy to set like a secondary call where we can dive further into it and kind of just run you through our deck that we have and highlight some of those services so you can just kind of see them and what we do.
Yeah, that would be great. And since you're on the left coast and we usually have our board meetings in the evening, it might actually work out time-wise.
I'm always up, don't worry.
No, that's why you're sick.
Yeah, probably. But like I'm out west, so it's easy for me to stay up. But we have Jeannie who's local. I have Lauren who has done a tremendous amount of marketing PR work as well. grant writer has a lot of those local connections to those veterinarians and stuff. And we're working with local organizations already from marketing services area too. So you fit right into the ballpark of being able to do that. Cool part is, we're flexible within the pricing there too.
Awesome.
Because we're a small organization. So, we're really flexible in what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This is fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for doing this. One of the real big initiatives that I want to do is to be able to tell the stories of the nonprofits in their own voice and to be able to have people connect with your mission and your cause. So, it elevates it past the cylindrical cycle of just one campaign after the next, because it's very much the flavor of the week that you see. And most of those is just built on guilt-based style donations. And that's just the opposite of what we want to do. Brands don't want to be associated with the sad music of Sarah McLachlan next to it.
Again, we can help this one. I try not to play on sadness. I try to be very factual and look at every case as an opportunity to help, rather than like, if you don't, this dog is going to die. That's not the focus. The focus is, if we all work together, think about the difference we can make.
And you're not
so
supposed to save them all, right? That's not your job to save them all. Your job is to save that one or that one, right? And if everyone had that mentality, that's how you save them.
That's exactly right. That's it.
100%. I couldn't agree more. So it's like, I love doing these. I love that we're growing and adding these in and have like a whole collection where people can say, this is what we do, this is how we do it. And then, we can take this and we'll cut them up into different sections. So like when you do have a campaign, we can put it like underneath like the actual campaign part and say, here, get to know you, and have your video here introducing your organization, your brand, and what you're doing and how you're doing it. People can be like, oh, wow, that's awesome. Because there's a face and a name behind just the words there.
Absolutely. The certifiable crazy cat lady sitting before you.
Absolutely. Well, I really appreciate the time, Stephanie. Thank you again so much for doing this.